You know the story. Every winter, it's the same thing. Delhi starts to choke. A thick, toxic smog just blankets the entire city, schools get shut down, hospitals are overwhelmed. But here's the thing. This isn't just a winter problem. It's a massive, complex crisis that's been building for years.
So just how bad are we talking? Well, get this. As of 2021, Delhi holds the unfortunate title of the most polluted capital city on the entire planet. And we're not just talking about some hazy skies. This is a full-blown public health emergency.
Which brings up the big questions, right? How on earth did one of the world's biggest cities get to this point? And with so many people trying to fix it, why does it feel like such an impossible problem to solve? We're going to dig in and figure it out. Okay, so before we even start talking about cars and factories, we have to look at the bigger picture. Turns out, Delhi's own geography and weather patterns come together to create this kind of natural trap, a perfect storm that's just designed to hold on to pollution.
And we need to meet the main villain of this story, PM 2.5. Now, these are microscopic particles. To give you an idea of how small, you could line up about 30 of them across a single strand of human hair. And that tiny size is exactly what makes them so dangerous. They're so small, they can bypass your body's natural defenses, getting deep into your lungs and even into your bloodstream, causing all sorts of serious health issues. So when you hear people talking about Delhi's pollution, this is what they're really talking about. So first ingredient in this perfect storm, geography. Delhi is a landlocked city smack in the middle of this huge area called the Indo-Gangetic Plain. What that means is there are no coastal breezes, no sea winds to come in and just blow all that pollution away.
Next up is the wind, or more accurately, the lack of it. See, in the summer, the winds are pretty strong, and they do a decent job of clearing out the air. But come winter, those winds just die down. They become slow and stagnant, and the air just sits there, letting all that pollution build up day after day.
And the final piece of this natural trap is something called mixing height. The easiest way to think about it is like an invisible ceiling over the city. In the summer, that ceiling is really high, giving the pollution tons of room to spread out and disperse. But in the winter, that ceiling drops a lot. It traps all that smog in a much smaller space, right where people are breathing. It's basically like putting a lid on a pot. All that pollution gets trapped right at ground level.
So this isn't just some abstract science lesson, right? What does this actually mean for people living there? Well, it means that this perfect storm of geography and weather triggers a public health crisis almost every single year, shutting down schools and forcing millions of people to breathe toxic air.
All right, so we've established this natural trap. Now, let's talk about what we're actually filling it with. And we'll start with all the sources of pollution that come from right inside Delhi's borders.
Wow, I mean, this map really tells the story, doesn't it? The yellow part is Delhi back in 1990. The red, that's the city just 24 years later. The city literally quadrupled in size. That kind of explosive growth is the engine driving this whole pollution crisis. And with all that explosive growth comes, you guessed it, traffic. A staggering 14 million registered vehicles on the roads as of 2021. Every single one of them pumping exhaust directly into that atmospheric trap we just talked about.
But it's not just the cars, not even close. Delhi's pollution is this toxic cocktail of stuff. You've got vehicle exhaust, sure, but then add in dust from all the constant construction. Then you have industrial emissions. And get this, the city has 3 massive landfills that are so overwhelmed, people just burn the garbage out in the open. And to top it all off, in the winter, people burn whatever they can get their hands on just to stay warm, adding even more smoke into the air.
Okay, so the problem is huge, but it's not like nobody's tried to fix it, right? It's actually been a decades-long battle. So let's take a look at some of the major moves that have been made to try and clear Delhi's air.
And this fight goes way back. It really kicked off in 1998 when the Supreme Court ordered all public transport to switch to cleaner burning fuel. A few years later, the amazing Delhi Metro started running. Then the bus system was massively expanded, and just recently, the whole country jumped to much stricter vehicle emission standards. These weren't small tweaks. These were huge, ambitious projects.
So the big question is, after all of that, did it work? Did the air actually get any cleaner? This chart shows us the PM 2.5 levels over the past 30 years or so. Let's see what the data has to say.
And there it is. See that little dip there, right around 2001? That's the big switch to cleaner fuel kicking in. It's proof that these big policy changes can have a real, measurable impact. But look what happens right after. The pollution levels just start creeping back up again. It was a win, for sure, but it was temporary.
Now this is fascinating. It's like a tale of two very different experiments. On one side, you have the odd-even scheme, this planned policy to take cars off the road. It had limited success. But on the other side, you have the COVID lockdown. It was this unintentional, natural experiment. And the results were absolutely stunning. With mobility down 80%, PM2.5 levels plummeted. The skies turned blue. It was this incredibly powerful, if accidental, demonstration of just how much daily traffic contributes to the problem.
So this is the big puzzle, right? Delhi implemented cleaner fuel, built a world-class metro, and passed stricter rules. They did a lot of things right, and yet the air is still toxic. Why? Well, to find the answer, we have to start looking outside the city's borders.
So after all that effort, why is the air still so dangerously polluted? The answer, it turns out, is that a huge chunk of Delhi's pollution isn't actually from Delhi. Take a look at this. These maps show one of the key culprits: brick kilns. At one point, the city made a big effort to move these highly polluting factories just outside its official border. A good idea for Delhi's stats, right? The problem is, smoke doesn't respect administrative boundaries. All that pollution just blows right back into the city.
It's like Delhi is sitting at the bottom of a giant pollution bowl. Every single autumn, smoke from farmers burning crop stubble in neighboring states just pours into the region. You add that to the emissions from coal power plants and other industries scattered all around Delhi, plus the millions of people commuting in from satellite cities every day, and you've got a recipe for an air quality disaster.
Okay, so we've laid it all out. The geography that traps the smog, the pollution from inside the city, and all the stuff blowing in from outside. We have a pretty clear picture of the problem. So, what does the path forward look like? What will it actually take to fix this? And this really is the key takeaway, the one thing to remember from all of this. Delhi cannot solve this problem on its own. It's just not possible. The city's air quality is a regional problem, and it's going to demand a regional solution. So we're left with this one last crucial question. We understand the science. We know where the pollution is coming from. The challenge now isn't technical, it's political. Can all the different states, the various industries, the farmers, all the people who share the same air actually come together on a coordinated plan to fix it? Because really, the health and lives of millions of people are hanging in the balance.